You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the #1 horse podcast in the world. Here is your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
Good morning, everybody. I am Glenn the Geek from Ocala, Florida.
And I'm Jamie Jennings in Norman, Oklahoma. You're listening to Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network for Wednesday, March 12th, episode 3645, brought to you today by State Line Tack. Good morning, horse people.
Well, instead of playing my usual opener today, I thought we'd do things a little differently because Wednesday is usually Horse Health Day. And one of our auditors posted this, and I thought it was very funny. This is Eloquy from Instagram. She did an Instagram reel on...
Why are horses at the vet based on their breed? If you have a Welsh pony at the vet, they're 48 years old. Their heart actually stopped beating in 2011. But somehow, they're still moving. Despite the lack of heartbeat, they're fine. If you have an Appaloosa at the vet, they are either blind or going blind. If you have a quarter horse, the vet has had to come to you because they only have 3 legs. However, they keep telling you that they are fine and they do not need to see the vet. If you have an Exmoor at the vet, they're literally just there for their flu jab. They have never been sick, sorry, or taken a lame step in their lives. If you have an Arabian at the vet, they have escaped from their paddock, caused a 10-car pile-up, committed a war crime, and are now a wanted felon. However, somehow after all this, all they have is one tiny scrape to one of their legs. If you have a Haflinger at the vet, they breathed too close to a carrot and have gained 20 pounds and are now at risk of developing laminitis.
There you go. We never talked about the breeds of the vet. That's very funny. I especially like the Arab one.
I was like, the Appaloosa one was very accurate. Every Appaloosa I've ever had has moon blindness, or something with the eyes. Bless them.
I love the breathe near a carrot. That's funny. Well, that was Eloquy on Instagram. So thank you for that. Today, we have a couple of returning guests. We have Devin Conley coming out, and you know her from Devin Out West. She's back to talk about her new book. And also researcher Louise Evans, based out of the UK. She's going to share her results of a study that shows horses are more intelligent than previously thought.
By who? I knew it.
I know. We all knew that. I remember covering this study when it came out, but it'll be interesting to see how she came to that conclusion. And then we have some weird news. Plus, in the auditor post show, unfortunately, the auditor scheduled for today had to cancel because of a work meeting. So we're going to have a chat with a new AI that is eerily real. And we're going to ask old, I think it's Niles or Miles. We're going to ask old Miles some non-horse person questions to see if Miles can figure them out. So that's what's coming up on today's show. All right, let's do some daily Whinnies. Well, I have a bunch of these. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to auditors Rachel Wallace, Andrea McCullough, and also happy birthday to Natalie, who's the host of Adulting with Horses. You all know her. And also Vicky, who's our travel agent for the cruise coming up to Alaska. Happy birthday to her. By the way, I heard from her yesterday. We have 42 people signed up for the Alaskan cruise. If you want to know more about it, it's May of next year, of 2026. We're going to be going from Alaska back to the United States, spending a couple days with our fellow horse friends and auditors in Alaska. So if you want to learn more about that, just go to horseradionetwork.com/cruise and you'll find all the details. Not too late to join us, although from what I'm hearing, there's not a lot of rooms left. So you'll have to get your reservation in sooner than later.
Well, my daily Whinnie goes out to, I told you guys on the show, I want to hear about and celebrate your new horses. Well, Ariel said, I miss hers. She got one at the end of January. His barn name is Freddie, and they're going to show under Take the Crown. I've met Ariel. She's been over here before. She's awesome. And they said they started working on the basics of dressage with hopefully he'll take her up to prelim and eventing, and she jumped him last night for the first time. So congratulations.
Wow, that's
I also have breaking news.
Oh, what's that?
I'm trying to find it. So you know how I own a few of the My Racehorse horses?
A few. Is the husband around?
Yeah, he knows.
Okay.
Anyway, congratulations. Tiffany's Mo had a colt last night around 11:30 p.m. Healthy and happy. And they sent video. That's the cool part about My Racehorses. They keep sending me videos of the babies.
Okay, so did you buy a share in the baby?
So I bought the Seize the Gray broodmare band.
Okay.
And what that means is I got 3 broodmares that are all pregnant. And this baby is by Liam's Map. And so they're having their babies. And then those babies will be sold and they're being rebred to Seize the Gray. And at the end of all of that, I mean, I'm going to make millions, Glenn.
Okay, so you guys make money off the sale of the babies.
I think so. Yeah, we don't own My Racehorse doesn't own 100%, so I own probably less than 4 hairs of any of these horses. But it's just fun to watch a baby being born. We had
Jamie
a baby.
owns a tiny little piece of the mane. Tiny little piece.
And the Liam's Map colt looks like he's going to be gray, so obviously he needs to be mine. But I think they've run that they're going to sell these babies and put. When they breed back to Seize the Gray, they're going to race some of them and sell some. I don't know. But basically, I own horses for like ever. I'm so excited.
Did Clark talk you into that one too?
I don't need Clark anymore.
You're your own worst
I'm
enemy.
on my own. I've gone rogue. Our next guest is somebody who's been on before, and I'm like a super huge fan. And when you hear her voice, you will recognize who she is. But we're going to play one of her videos. She has 410,000 TikTok followers and 14.5 million Facebook likes. It's Devin Conley from Devin Out West. Now, she always does these videos that are so just horse person. And so here's one of her videos. And basically it's her as a horse talking to another horse. Okay, so here it goes.
She was an hour early to feed this morning. Did anybody else realize that? Yep. Yeah, I did. And actually I heard them talking. They said something about the time changed again. So messed them up. I'm sorry. The time changed again. No, that's fake. They're making that up. You know that's not real, right? Yeah, you know what? I thought so. Because I feel like the time just changed a few months ago and they were an hour late to feed. So, but I don't really understand time because I'm a horse. So I don't think they're powerful enough to actually change time. I think they're making it up. You know what I bet happened? We complained so loudly about them being an hour late to feed, even though we adjusted to it or whatever. I bet they switched it back just for us. You know what? You're right. I bet this was a showing of good faith. I bet they did this for us. I bet you're right. That's really nice, honestly, that they would change their time and everything, however time works, just so we could get fed an hour earlier. I think that's pretty cool. I think so too. Should we do something to show our gratitude? Should we I don't know, just be better or not get hurt as much or something? Absolutely not. No, we can't do that. That's insane. We can't just switch up on them like that mid-race. That would throw everything off. No, I think, in fact, if anything, we should be worse. You're right. Yeah, let's just be worse. Everybody throw a shoe right now in sync. Show them what happens when they keep changing time on us.
Did the time change mess you up at all, Glenn?
No, not really. But I will say that I do think, well, obviously the horses get a little messed up because they know exactly what time breakfast is.
They do. Well, let's welcome Devin onto the show. Hi, Devin. So good to have you back.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. Thanks, guys, for chatting again.
Again, I'm a super fan, and things got a little real after you and I talked last time, because what happened was you posted a video and you were basically calling out a horse who was being very misbehaved, and you named him after my horse, and I felt targeted. Okay.
Oh no. It wasn't meant to be. I don't know. Is your horse misbehaving?
Yeah. I mean, it was right. Spot on, 100%. So, well, congratulations on your new book. Tell us about it.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah. So my poetry book, The Words of the West, I have been working on that for years. It's been a labor of love. It's been a work in progress. And it's one of those things I'd put to the back burner. Put to the back burner. And finally, last fall, I just said, all right, let's let's do this. Let's sit down and just make this happen and kind of put it all together. It's totally self-published, self-formatted, self-designed. I went through probably 3 rounds of ordering, test copy and looking at it and saying, oh no, that doesn't hit the mark, and then fixing it, order a test copy. And it's definitely been a journey because I'm not into like the designing world, but it's been great. And I sent it out to the printer and kind of tried to get it in people's mailboxes in time for Christmas, the very first round of 2024. And here we are now, and it just keeps selling so well. And I'm just very, very honored, very humbled by the support I've gotten for it.
Now, going back to the very beginning, do you remember kind of what was the idea? Because now your videos have obviously morphed into, you have like a bazillion followers. So when you first started this whole thing, what was kind of your idea?
Started the poetry book or just started the social media channels?
Let's start with the social media.
It was never intended to become what it is. I was a teacher still at the time, and we had gone into remote learning for the pandemic, and I just kind of wanted my students to be able to see my face. And so I started making videos really for them, just kind of joking about even teacher humor, and then threw in some horse ones, and those just took off. And I think they really seem to resonate with folks because we're all living the same life, right? Like all of our horses are the same horses.
Yeah,
They're all
it's
related.
Absolutely true. Speaking of, are you okay? I've been watching your winter videos and I've been worried sick about you.
Oh gosh, thank you. It is 60 degrees here and has been for the last couple of days, so I'm good now. It's all turned around.
You're in Colorado, right? Aren't you?
No, further north.
Wyoming.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, the great wintry north.
I mean, it is the prettiest place on the planet, so I get it. But man, that winter is tough, especially with horses. So, and then how did the poetry thing kind of start? Have you always been a writer, or is that from the teacher aspect?
I've definitely always been a writer. I have poems, books of poems back from when I was really young, like 7 or 8. That's how I kind of got my thoughts out, was on paper. And, I look back on some of those and I was like, oh, burn these. These are embarrassing. But, like the poetry of a child. And so I've always just been a writer. And then I remember the first one I ever shared online, I thought, wow, I don't know if this is going to do well, but I don't know. I just feel kind of called to share this. And it did very, very well. And it was just about, I think honestly, the first one I ever shared was about a senior horse. And it did very well. And I thought, oh man, people kind of like this. Maybe this resonates, with folks, and just kind of kept sharing. And then people started asking for me to put them in a book. And that was always in the back of my mind to try to do that, but I had no idea where to start. And then somebody was like, just, put them in a book and send them to Staples to be printed and I'll buy them. I thought, oh my gosh, that's so kind. So I thought, well, what are we going to do? Let's just give it a try. Let's give it a shot. And it came together pretty well. And so my first round of poems in the book, and I'm actually working on the second book now. I have so many poems that I've got the second book in the works and hoping to have that out again by this fall, and just kind of keep rolling with that. So it's been an incredible journey.
That's so great. Yeah. Who knew that? So are you not teaching anymore? You're specifically, I know you work for our company, but is that pretty much what you're doing, that in the videos?
So yeah, I quit teaching back in 2022, and I had gone back to school full time. Well, I was teaching full time. I'd gone back to school to get my master's in counseling, and then became a school counselor. And then the job with Horse and Rider opened up, and I moved into that role. Was very, very blessed. Nicole took a chance on me in equine media. So I left education entirely in 2023 and started my job with the Equine Network, and still there working with Horse and Rider and also the ranch sorting. So the Cinch RS&C, loving that, doing writing on the side, working on my books on the side, kind of building
Good
my own
Lord, you're
Devin Out
busier
West
now.
brand and planning a wedding. I get married in June.
Oh, wow.
No way. Congratulations. Now, Glenn, go ahead.
Okay,
Take over your horse husband questions.
I got a question you about this. So how'd you meet him?
Oh man. So actually I met him through she's my boss now here at the Equine Network. Very dear friend of mine introduced us. She had bought a horse from him And she said, it's the best horse she ever owned. And she's like, I think you got to meet this guy. And I said, all right, well, if he trains nice horses, let's meet him. And so she introduced us just like via over the phone. And after a couple hours of, just a few hours of talking, the next day I came up to Wyoming to a Christmas party with him and his friends and met him. And it was kind of a blind date. And it's just, and the rest is history.
You drove to Wyoming for a blind date?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, do as I say, not as I do.
Keep in mind, it was actually only blind for one, because he'd probably checked you out online. So it was like, obviously, we're okay. She's real pretty.
Yeah,
she's super
true.
cute.
Blind
Yeah,
dates
it's
aren't
on
really
you.
blind anymore, are they? They're just first dates anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Except for her. I'm sure he's not a content creator, or is he?
He is not. No, he's very much not on social media. But just the best person you'll ever meet. And my friend had told me that, and she's like, trust me, like you gotta
And he's
meet
a
this
horse guy.
So, he is. Yep, he's a cowboy, and yeah, he is definitely. He's kind of trained some colts and does a lot of roping, and he's an inspiration. He is a heck of a hand, and I've learned a lot from him. He's really got me back in the roping pen and helped me in that arena, pun intended. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We have just been living our best lives.
Okay,
so,
Devin.
Gotta ask her,
Yes,
Glenn.
I'm
ask
gonna
her
ask her.
about it. Go ahead. He always does this.
For 15 years, we've been telling people not to have horses in their wedding. My guess is there's going to be horses in your wedding.
We used them in our engagement photos, and that was wonderful. And the wedding is going to be kind of out at our friend's ranch, and we talked about it, and we were like, maybe not in the wedding, because
Yeah, good
we
for
know
you.
how horses. I've made enough videos about horses. It's like, some things maybe we don't want to leave to chance.
Good for you. Well,
See, she knows
yeah.
horses too well to know. I mean, how many videos have we seen where the bride swings her leg over and the dress all of a sudden covers them and they get bucked off and all? Oh my God, disaster!
Right?
And I went to a wedding, Devin, where they had their vows right next to the paddock, and so the horses were kind of right up there. And she walks down the aisle, and they're like, "Please be seated," and all of a sudden, this horse starts urinating right next to where they're doing the vows, and it was the longest pee I've ever heard in my entire life. And it was like, even when you're not involving them and you're kind of involving them, they still screw it up.
It's like, that's just it. I mean, they won't miss a chance to keep us humble. And I don't know if, I feel like I try real hard to be humble. I don't know if I'm going to be extra humbled on my wedding day, like in front of God and everybody, right? Like, there's some videos I don't need on the internet of my horse, bucking me off and taking off.
how many of these poems are written about him, the fiance?
Yeah, any of them that involve, just kind of the little mentions of, like kitchen dances at night or riding behind your cowboy out to go, check yearlings or whatever. Those are definitely about him. And
It'd be very interesting, Jamie, over the next 5 years to see the poems and how they change.
I was out doing everything. Somebody was just sitting in the house being lazy. I'm not breaking water troughs. Yeah. I mean, it won't happen to you. That won't be what happened to me.
Oh. Yeah, he's up at like 3 a.m. every day to go feed cows before he starts his real job. I'm like,
oh, bless him. You sound so happy. I'm so excited for you. So tell everybody where they can get the book if they can get their hands on it, because it's flying off the shelves.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So my website, devinoutwest.com, is where I keep that. I try to keep it in stock, or at least a order run of it. When I put a order into the printer, it only takes about a week to get the book in. And then I actually package, I sign every single book, sit down, print every label, pack every book, put a little sticker on the back, tape them shut, and drive them to the post office myself. So it is a very much like personal project for me, and so just know it's coming straight from me to you. And I just put in another pre-order of books to arrive within a week or so those will be on the website. And yeah, just very, very grateful, again, humbled, honored, and so glad that it seems like folks are enjoying them.
Devin, you're an influencer, social media star now. You need people.
Yeah, you need people. I I do want to say that I'm a little bummed on your website because I want this item so bad and it's out of stock. And that is the sweatshirt that says cowgal, not cowboy. Cowgal, that's great.
Oh, Jenny, I'll get you one. Yeah, we'll get you one.
I'm like, that's so cool. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on your website too, and fantastic items, good hats, and all the things in the books and the mugs, and you've got it going on. And I know you're super busy with all of this. Yes, you need people. That's it, people.
I know. Thank you. I like to joke. Thanks, Glenn. I like to joke that like I myself am understaffed. So like I'm doing the best I can, but like I'm personally understaffed at the minute.
Actually, all of us that work for Equine Network have that problem. So that's a common problem in media today.
Yeah, which is like, it's like, man, it's a good problem to have, right? Like we're all busy. That's good. That means things are working.
Hey, I want to ask you one more question, more about more about your business. Is TikTok your biggest platform?
It is. Yep. And my Instagram has been, Instagram is kind of the slower one to grow. And I've been really, really pleased with how that's taken off. That's really cool. But yeah, TikTok definitely remains the biggest. And,
so you were a little nervous
the future is there.
A month or two ago, weren't you?
Yeah, it was one of those things where it's like, all right, well, we'll pivot. And so I've been trying to build up my YouTube a little bit. And I think it's good to, it's good to keep an eye on that stuff and be on your toes for the next the next move.
Well, you're putting it everywhere, which is what you need to do because you can't rely on just one anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, good for you. We're so proud of you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat and let me have a little space to share.
Well done, Devin.
Love it.
Well done.
Thanks, girl. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, guys. Take care. Have a good day.
All right. Bye-bye. Well, we've all been in winter. It even gets chilly in Florida, but nothing like up in the north. And what happens this time of year is your coat starts to wear out. You got holes in it. All of your winter stuff starts to wear out for you and the horses. Well, now it's the time to check out State Line Tack's cold weather store. Find everything you need to keep your horse warm and cozy all season long, and you too. With heavy-duty winter coats, you can find horse blankets. They've got everything you're going to need. They have a top selection from Ariat, Ovation, and more. So don't let the cold weather keep you from enjoying your favorite equestrian activities, and it's time to stock up on all new stuff and get ready for next winter. Visit State Line Tack today and get ready to ride in style. And don't forget to use the HRN coupon code. It's just HRN at checkout, and you're going to get 30% off any order over $129. And please note that some products are not eligible for the additional discount due to manufacturer restrictions, or they're already on mega sale. These are noted in your shopping cart, so you'll know after you put the coupon code in there. HRN, statelinetack.com. Well, this Horse Health Report is brought to you by Daily Dose Equine, non-GMO core nutrition for horses and ponies of all ages. We have Louise Evans coming on, and she is a researcher based in Nottingham, Trent University School of Animal, Rural, and Environmental Sciences. That's a mouthful in the UK. And she's coming on to talk about a study that we pretty much knew, but she's going to tell us how they proved it. Louise, thank you for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
So we do a thing on the show called Study Show, where we take all kinds of studies and we kind of make fun of them because, and this isn't yours, but other studies that are about coffee and tea and sex and all this stuff, and we kind of make fun of them because we already know the answer that they just spent thousands of dollars doing this study on. And in a way, I kind of feel like that about yours because all of us horse people think our horses are brilliant. Right? You proved it here, and that's what we want to talk to you about is how you proved horses are the way we thought they were.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. So actually, although it seems really obvious to horse owners and trainers that horses are, quite clever and things, it's actually in the world of science, horses have got quite a bad reputation for being not that smart. And what I mean by that is that it's often, it's historically been thought that horses are very, very good at associative learning. So they're really good associating a stimulus with an outcome. So an action happens and there's a certain outcome. Horses are very good at making those associations. But it's always been thought that that's kind of I don't want to say limit, but that's sort of where we're at with horses, is that they make associations, they respond to things that are happening to them in the moment. Whereas what we did with this study was we investigated whether horses might actually have the capability to do something called model-based learning, which is where horses have a bit more of an idea of what all of the different possible outcomes are, and they can come up with the best strategy to get them the best reward or the best outcome for their behaviour. So that was what we were studying here.
And so how did you do it? What did you do in the study?
So we actually set out, first of all, to look at inhibitory control in horses. So that is the ability to stop yourself from doing things that you shouldn't do. So in humans, there's quite a lot of individual variation on how good we are at this. And we were interested in whether there were similar individual differences between horses and how good they are at controlling their kind of urges in a way.
Judging by the number of people that are in jail, I would say humans aren't very good at it either, to be honest.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of variation in humans. Yeah, so we wanted to know if horses are similarly variable, I suppose. And so to do that, we came up with a stop signal task, which is a task where you ask a horse to give you a certain behavioural response. So for us, we had trained a group of horses. We had 20 horses, and we had trained them to touch a target. So every time we presented the target to them, we wanted them to touch it with their nose, and they got a food reward for doing that. The inhibitory control part was once horses had established a really strong touch response and were touching the target every time, we introduced a stop cue. And this was a light, a little bit like a stoplight when you're driving. And when the light was on, we wanted horses to inhibit their learned response and not touch the target. And we wanted to see if horses could do that and whether there would be individual differences in, how well horses perform on this kind of task. We were also interested in their physiology, so their heart rate variability and their eye temperature and other physiological things that might be going on that might be indicating how well they're learning this task. So that's what we set out to do. But as with a lot of science, sometimes things don't exactly go to plan and we end up sort of veering off into something different. And that is exactly what happened here. So we gave the horses 3 training sessions, and when we looked at our results, the horses were actually getting worse. So as they were performing a lot of errors, we called these errors of omission because the horses were actually touching the target when the stoplight was on. So they seemed to just be completely ignoring the light. So our horses were touching the target regardless of whether the light was on or off. And initially, this made us think, horses are not good at this task. So, maybe they don't understand the task. Maybe they can't see the light. Maybe they can see the light, but it doesn't mean anything to them because they haven't been able to learn that, when the light is on, we want them to stop. And we were thinking about this and we thought, maybe horses are just not very good at this task. But then actually, we rely on horses to be good at this kind of task all the time. So when we were thinking about actually how we interact with horses and ride horses, we rely on them to be good at inhibitory control for our own safety all the time. So, if a horse reacted and responded to every cue in their environment that's telling them to bolt or telling them to, do something dangerous, we'd be in a bit of trouble, wouldn't we, really? So we know that horses, anecdotally, we know that horses are good at suppressing their behavioural urges in specific situations. When we ask them to stop, for example, when all they want to do is keep galloping down the field, horses learn to inhibit that response. So we had a bit more of a think about, well, why are we getting these results? Why are our horses ignoring this light? One idea that we had was that maybe horses actually had learned what the light meant. They understood that we were asking them to stop, but actually they'd figured out that there was no cost for them making these errors. So it's quite a, computationally complex, brain-wise task to ask a horse to respond to a light cue, to pay attention to whether a light is on or off, and apply that to their behaviour and modify their behaviour based on that. Whereas it's very easy for the horse to just keep touching the target every single time. And if a horse does that and there's no cost to them for making errors, then every time they touch the target, they can keep touching the target repeatedly, and sometimes they will be rewarded, sometimes they'll get food, other times not, but nothing bad will ever happen. So we wondered if horses had maybe figured that out, that actually just touching the target every time is beneficial to them because they don't have to think very hard about it, and they quite often get rewarded. And if it's actually the wrong answer, nothing bad happens, so it doesn't matter anyway. So that was the idea. And so to test this, we thought, okay, well, let's introduce some kind of cost. So let's make it so that there is a cost for getting this answer wrong. And the cost that we came up with was a 10-second timeout. So this time, if the horse touched the target and they weren't supposed to, when the stoplight was on, I would remove the targets from their reach for 10 seconds, and they couldn't play the game for 10 seconds. And what we saw, which was what really excited us when we saw these results, was that immediately the horses almost completely stopped making errors within the very first session that we introduced this cost. Horses started playing by the rules and following the light cue. And, this really gave us the idea that, maybe horses had figured out what the task meant, what the rules were, but had come up with a strategy that was really quite clever and actually outsmarted us. We weren't expecting them to do this, but they really did outsmart us in a way, because
they were like, screw you, half the time I get treats, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's really what the paper is about. And if your listeners are interested, I would encourage them to read the paper, because, the way that we wrote it is a lot more clear than the way I've probably just explained it. So if you are interested, I would recommend go and read the paper.
We often
that
say,
is what the paper is
we
about.
often say that horses are like 3-year-olds, and a 3-year-old would have the same response, right? A 3-year-old human would have the same response. They're going to keep doing it. If there's no consequences, we're just going to keep trying to get the cookie, right? Regardless of the red light. So we always say that, and it's true. I can see how what's going on in their mind. We can hear them processing that, going, well, if there's no consequences, I'm just going to keep going for the cookie. So.
Yeah, and you know what? What we're really unsure about, and what we haven't been able to address in this one study, because it really is the first study of its kind in horses. We haven't come across anything else that's looked at model-based learning in horses. So it really is, it's in its infant stages, this kind of research. But what we weren't able to establish, what I still would like to know is, are horses actually doing this consciously? Is it that kind of narrative like you've just described, like, if I keep touching, nothing bad happens? Or is this something automatic, something unconscious that just happens in the brain, that the horse isn't necessarily plotting and planning and scheming, but that actually this is just something that a horse's brain can do that we didn't realize it could do? Because I think it is really important, and I do want to stress this, that what we're not saying is that horses are scheming and plotting and naughty and things like that, because I just don't believe that that is something that horses are capable of, and I don't think it's helpful to think about animals in that way.
I don't know. You've never met my pony. I think we need to add Scooter into the mix, and we might get a whole different answer. So, Jamie, what do you think?
Actually, That whole description about plotting and planning, the only animal that I have seen do that is a cat. I mean, they seem to do that, but obviously it's like a difference between predator and prey. You know, I find that horses are, I mean, they're so generous with their learning. As long as you make the right thing comfortable, they'll do it every time. As soon as they figure out what it is, they do it. So if you make the right thing comfortable, done. They're like, okay, I got it, because that's how they kind of like think and learn, and that's how they survive for millions of years. You know, it's like because they had to do the right thing to stay alive. So I think it is exciting and interesting, and yeah, one of those things that like what you did was prove to everybody what we've been trying to tell everybody for a long time.
Yeah, right. I think that's a really good way of describing it as well. And I think horses are very trainable, and, you know, like you say, if you make it easy for them to make the right or the, you know, in air quotes, correct behavior, you know, correct response, then generally you get really good results out of them. But I think also what we showed with this study that was really nice from a welfare point of view is that you don't have to make the punishment too uncomfortable either. So the reward and making it easy for the horse to do the right thing is obviously useful, but also you don't need to make your punishment harsh. You don't, you know, we just moved these targets away from them for 10 seconds.
You just took their plaything away, basically. It's just...
Yeah, you know, we didn't need to use harsh methods. We didn't need to use positive punishment, which is the addition of something unpleasant. We used negative punishment, which is the removal of something that they want temporarily. As a punishment.
I mean, that's kind of the whole thing about how to train horses is the people that add positive punishment, which is adding something unpleasant. You're going to backtrack 100 miles if you're trying to like perfect horse walking up to a trailer. I'm not going up to that trailer because that's where the whips are. Obviously, if you whip a horse into a trailer, you might get them in that time, but they sure as hell aren't going to go back again, you know, and that's kind of the whole thing. Is like positive punishment is disastrous, I feel. And so what you did was, you just remove something fun, and they're like, oh, I don't want to do that again. Like that was enough. That was enough.
Yeah,
for them, so.
Because the motivation to play the game was so strong by that point. And I think that's testament to, again, welfare-friendly training is if you make your training fun, something that they're actually enjoying engaging in, and, you know, obviously there was food involved, so they're going to be motivated by that as well. But, you know, there are ways to make training horses something that is intrinsically rewarding to the horse, so that then if you just say, okay, well, we're going to have 10 seconds not playing the game anymore, you know, time out, that the fact that was enough for the horses to go, oh, okay, let's play by the rules, you know, that is testament to, I believe, welfare-friendly training and really positive interactions with horses where they actually want to engage with you and they do want to take part. You know, this was a free choice experiment as well. At any point, the horses didn't have to engage with us. They were free to not engage, and we respect that. And if a horse doesn't want to take part in research, they don't have to, you know, but we actually never had an issue with that because all of our horses were so engaged and did want to take part as far as we were able to tell. So
if you could really please make that for children, that would be great. Your next study needs to be on how to train children.
Or cats, either one.
Or cats.
Oh, I'm not sure about children. Horses I can do, but I don't know about children.
Louise Evans, thank you so much for coming on. Again, it's Nottingham Trent's University School of Animal, Rural, and Environmental Sciences in the UK. And thank you so much. And people can look up your study, sciencedirect.com, and everything else. And I look forward to having you on the next time.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Non-GMO whole food nutrition is the basis of the entire Daily Dose Equine program. We never forget that natural is better and simplicity is key. Daily Dose Equine uses non-GMO whole food ingredients like alfalfa, timothy, peas, sunflower seeds, and flax. Daily Dose Equine doesn't use fillers, bulking agents, or leftovers from other industries. so you can feed less, yet improve body condition and energy. And our feeds are free from chemical residues and glyphosate. Find the perfect formulation for your horse at dailydoseequine.com. Select Daily Dose Equine formulations are available nationwide through Chewy.com and TractorSupply.com.
Want to reach a passionate, engaged audience of horse lovers? The Horse Radio Network, with thousands of listeners worldwide, offers unique sponsorship opportunities to connect your brand with horse owners, riders, and enthusiasts. Over 90% of our listeners have bought a product from a HRN ad in the past year. Partner with HRN and take your brand to the next level. Visit www.horseradionetwork.com/advertise today.
Time to learn why some days you're embarrassed to be part of the human race. In Jamie's Weird News.
Oh, God, it's going to be good today. Telling you what, I'm really excited about this. And I would like to thank Delia, Julie, Carrie, Janelle, Michelle, and Laureen for sending me the weird news. Shelly, gross. Gross. That was disgusting. You know what you did. So thank you very much for sending it. I actually showed, I'll tell you what it was. She sent me, well, there was a couple gross ones, but one, first of all, the underwear. I didn't need that. The picture of the rat underwear that somebody had made taxidermy. And then somebody got a popsicle in Thailand and unwrapped it, and there was a snake frozen inside the popsicle, and it is like, oh my God, gross. I didn't need that before breakfast. Okay. So let's go to New York, because just dumb people like to be separated from their dumb money. Okay. A 3-inch long flaming hot Cheeto has been sold in an auction for a lot of money. Why is this 3-inch long flaming hot Cheeto special? Because it looks like a Pokemon. Okay. The Pokemon Charizard apparently looks just like this Cheeto. So what they did was they take the Cheeto and they put it in like a custom made Pokemon card called Cheetozard. And then they put it in like a case, like you would put like a baseball in, you know, and they sold it at auction on Sunday. 60 bids for this flaming hot Cheeto that looks like a Pokemon. Glenn, we are in the wrong dang business, because it sold for $87,000.
Is Pokemon still a thing? I thought it died a while back. I guess
don't
it's
know.
still a thing.
$87,840 is for a Cheeto.
Well, when I eat my Cheetos now, I'm going to be looking for designs. I'm going to be
right. And it does. It looks like a little dragon. It's a Cheeto. Looks like a dragon. Okay, cool. Congratulations, dumb people. You know what? It's the day when two dumb people met. One who asked for it and one who paid it.
One who had no money and one who had money. That's how that worked. Oh,
cool. Okay, so apparently this is a thing, and I wanted to tell this story with you on it because I know that you have been to Disney quite a bit.
Yep.
A couple at Disneyland in California, in Anaheim, went on the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, Mission Breakout. Now, the Guardians of the Galaxy ride apparently is like hours to wait in line.
Yes, it's one of the most popular ones. Yeah.
Yeah, the couple who was going to go on the ride went on the ride. And unfortunately, they decided not to take their baby. So they left their baby in a stroller outside the ride and went on the ride. It was caught by somebody who walked by and was like, is that a baby?
So is this a little tiny baby? Like a baby?
Like a newborn. A newborn in a stroller.
That'll be fine. Where's it going to go?
Oh my God. So apparently the video, I mean, it was out there for so long. Apparently it's like a 60 to 80 minute wait. So they left their baby for at least over an hour, potentially. We don't know, like, when they put it out there, were they about to go in? Did you know Disney actually has the has this thing where if two parents wait in line with a child and the child can't go on the ride, they'll let one parent go and then let the other parent get right on.
Yes.
I didn't know that when they get done to hand off the child.
Yep.
It's called rider switch.
Yep.
So why the hell would you leave your baby outside?
Well, who wants to be with a crying baby waiting 60 minutes?
Oh my God. One person at the Disneyland Resort said they've been working there off and on for 20 years and it happens all the time.
Really?
All the time. Yeah. I'm like, you are terrible humans. You're terrible humans. Anyway, so all they did in this article was talk about how children must be at least 14 years old to be left unattended in the park, and they did not say what they did to the people. I'm sure they did.
Yeah, they don't fool around at Disney.
Oh my God. Don't leave your baby as like a newborn baby. And they left it like in a stroller covered with a blanket. What if somebody was like, I'm going to take that stroller and just left? Oh, sorry.
That's crazy.
It just was a Disney thing. Apparently it just happens all the time. Now this one is so weird. We're going to go to Memphis, Tennessee, because there was a man who was, quote, relaxing in his bed and, quote, talking with his female friend on Monday. This was about 4 a.m. They were just chilling and laying in bed, and their dog jumped up on the bed and apparently stepped on the trigger of the loaded gun and shot the man in the leg.
And we're believing this one?
According to the press release, the dog, quote, jumped on the bed and got his paw stuck in the trigger guard and ended up hitting the trigger, and the bullet shot him in the thigh. Can I just back up and say, why do you have a loaded gun on your bed?
Yeah, in the bed.
At 4 a.m. In the bed.
At least on the nightstand, not in the bed.
Officers were able to locate, quote, one spent shell casing on their front room floor, but the man's female friend allegedly left the scene with the gun following the incident.
Were these the same two that left a kid outside the ride? I'm guessing.
Well, they're probably, yes, and they're probably in the next story too. Okay. So what I'm getting is that this couple sold their Cheeto for $87,000 and went to Disney World, left their baby outside, and then went home for some fun, got shot in the leg, and then they headed over to Dover, New Hampshire, because bless them. Sometimes when you see a mugshot of somebody, you're like, yep, that's him. Okay, so New Hampshire troopers got multiple calls on Sunday afternoon because there was a car accident, okay? And in the car accident, just two cars, just minor car accident, but the man driving got out of the car and ran, okay? So apparently it was a stolen car, duh. And he got in an accident, and then, because if you're going to steal a car, just drive carefully. I mean, if I'm going to give you some advice, that's what I would say. So he gets out and he runs. However, he was naked. So random man
kind of noticeable.
Gets in a car accident, gets out and runs, and he's buck naked. And what he does is, as he's running, he has to cross the highway. Okay, so there is a naked man running across the highway like Frogger. And do you know what his name is?
Oh,
you won't know. His name is Sean Wiener. Sean Wiener, 35 of Somersworth, New Hampshire.
You know how we always say that
Sean.
horses live up to their names? Apparently It's true with people too.
Yeah, he faces multiple charges: indecent exposure, lewdness, reckless conduct, disorderly conduct, and he was also drunk and driving a stolen car. So, I mean, all of that. Have fun. Sean Wiener.
You know how I think he ended up there, after doing all the Disney stuff and leaving the kid and getting shot in the leg and all of that.
It's been a hell of a day for Sean.
Yeah, Sean's had a hell of a day. You know how I think he ended up there? You go through high school with the last name of Wiener, you're going to come out warped. because
Yeah, bless him.
Yeah, I mean, he had a tough road to hoe. Elementary school, middle school, and high school with the last name Wiener. My God.
And I mean, having to part with his beloved Cheeto and then leaving his baby, getting kicked out of Disneyland, and then getting shot by his dog. The girl runs off with the gun, and now he's chasing her down, and he jumps out of the car naked because he was just laying in bed naked with this girl and goes running around. Oh my God, you're right. We have figured it out.
Yes, we have figured it out. It's all because of his last name. That's where it started in elementary school.
It was quite the journey for Sean Wiener. Bless him. Oh,
Sean's now thinking about it in jail. And now, what is a worse place in high school to have the last name Wiener?
I mean, if you're going to have the last name, and like they probably have those little jumpsuits, you know, with their name, the inmate name, like all it says is
Wiener.
Wiener.
Poor guy can't catch a break.
Yeah, he's had a bad day according to the mugshot. Bless his little heart. Oh.
Well, if somebody wants to send you weird news for next week, what do they do?
You can send it to weirdnews@horseradionetwork.com. And I really appreciate all you guys. And some of you guys, there's some people that send me some stories, Glenn, that I'm like, oh God, I don't want to open it. I don't want to click it. Delia, you guys,
I can see
Carrie.
Doing
oh
that,
my God.
actually.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think I want to open those, but I do. And I see pictures of snakes, and I saw a picture of a guy who was, his ex-wife had pet rats. And when they died, he taxidermied a thong, and he was selling it online for $50 as lightly used because they got divorced, and he got the
rat thong in the divorce.
Oh.
On that note, auditors, hang on. We're going to have a little fun in the post show. Unfortunately, our auditor that was supposed to be on for the highlight today had a work thing come up this morning, so we're gonna talk to a brand new AI that's out there, and we're going to ask the AI the non-horse person questions and see if they get it right. So that'll just be some fun in the post show. All right, everybody. Tomorrow is the NRHA episode, and then we'll be back on Friday with some really bad ads. Send the ads in to Jennifer at horseradionetwork.com.
Spay Neuter Guild, I was waiting for it. I'm just too busy looking at the picture of this poor guy.
I'm going to head out before the post show and buy some Cheetos. I'll be back.